Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of September 22nd, 2024. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week, without a doubt. Big moves happening in the sky now. Boy, is this a very special time. And it truly is so special now. Fully 3 planets will be changing signs. And when we see planets on the move like this, it means that there is an important shift of energy that all of us feel in one way or another. These are personal planets, which include the Sun, Venus, and Mercury. The fact that personal planets are changing signs so closely together means that these experiences end up being that much more personal to us, and the ways in which we access an understanding of who we are when we shine brightest. That is the Sun. Who we are when it is that we live heart-centered, when we're loving for ourselves and others in the world. That's Venus. And who we are when we are at our best and brightest and able to have these conversations and process ideas that much more easily. That has to do with Mercury. All of us are going to feel as if something's changed. The information you needed, the heart awakening you needed, the self-awakening you needed has happened. And it facilitates or allows some sense of a new chapter or new beginning. The jam-packed energy starts right out of the gate as we begin the week on Sunday. The Sun will change signs, moving into the sign of Libra. So first of all, happy birthday to all the Libras out there. But it is when the Sun crosses over that 0 degree of Libra that we mark an equinox point. In the Northern Hemisphere, this is the beginning of the autumn season, astrologically, and in the Southern Hemisphere, this kicks off spring. And it is at this time that we are encouraged to find a sense of balance within ourselves and in the different things that we might want in our lives. Your understanding of what balance means for you will have you increasingly go within to find the light within yourself. Wherever the Sun goes, it represents a time when, as a collective, we're more interested in those particular matters. And in this case, it's one-on-one alliances. That's what the energy of Libra represents. And I was thinking about how so much of Western astrology does come from and originates from the Northern Hemisphere. And what is it that was usually happening right around this time? Because astrology is deeply connected to the seasons. It was as the world began to feel colder, we start thinking about what is it that we need to ensure that we are going to be okay. Right now, the very first chill begins, but we know that it means winter is around the corner just 3 months later. And normally what we really need, especially in the ancient world and still in many parts of the world, is that we need other people. We need to have alliances, connections with others that are meaningful, exchanges with others that then allow an exchange of resources to occur, which is what we start to look at 30 days later when the Sun moves into the sign of Scorpio. And of course, I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. You know, I love Scorpio season. I love Halloween. I'm looking forward to talking about that with you guys as well. We'll start to get a little taste of that Scorpio energy as well with a week like this. And that really is thanks to Venus. On the same day, on Sunday, we have 2 interesting phenomena taking place. And depending on where you are on the planet, some people will experience this energy more so towards Monday, but certainly in the Americas, Venus will connect in a conversation of tension with Pluto before changing signs and moving into the sign of Scorpio. Now, Venus in its home sign of Libra has already helped us to amplify an understanding of that energy of meaningful alliances with other people. But as Venus speaks in a conversation of tension with Pluto, this is the modern ruling planet of the energy of Scorpio. It's like very quickly, I think we are going to feel in our own ways that we've delved into this more Scorpion understanding of what it is that we desire, what it is that we understand our own worth to be, and what value we place on the love and how it is that we direct it, whether romantically or otherwise. Love can show up in all kinds of ways, but it can also be rather complex. And sometimes when love is real, it asks us to be honest with ourselves. But sometimes when love is manipulative, it appears as if it is being honest, but that's not really the case. It's actually quite unfair. And it is in those moments when love feels uncertain. We don't know what we're dealing with here, that we get to summon perhaps the greatest love of all, right? Which is a love for yourself, a love for your life, a faith in yourself and your journey ahead. And knowing that even if it's hard for you to give yourself the best of kindness to yourself, the best of love to yourself, because we can judge ourselves so harshly, especially with Venus square Pluto, we certainly reach these moments where just saying that I'm not going to allow that from someone else is a tremendous act of self-love. I think a lot of us are going to be looking at our alliances with other people. It's like in an instant, on the one hand, this light is shining, right? Because the sun is moving into Libra. And so our partnerships of all kinds are coming into focus in some way. We're seeing them in a new light. But then with Venus square Pluto, we're also seeing how messy certain alliances are and whether or not that works for us. Honesty is the first step that self-love sometimes requires, and a lot of us might be reaching that moment now, where it is that we've been caught up in a certain fantasy of what might be love, what could be love, but also with Venus, what could be prosperity, what could be money, what could be easy for us. All of a sudden, we might see it very differently, and we can't help but be honest with ourselves. But it is Mercury that quickly steps into gear. On Tuesday, Mercury will speak in supreme harmony with Uranus. This is one of my most favorite energies. It represents good news seeming to come out of nowhere. Mercury is what we are talking about and what we're thinking about, whether that's in terms of the media or on a more personal level with each other, and sometimes within our own minds. And this is new ideas, new opportunities seemingly coming out of nowhere, but they awaken a sense of possibility for us now. This is profoundly creative energy. So wherever it is that you may need to think of something a little bit differently or have a conversation that ultimately clears the air, well, Mercury trine Uranus is going to help us with that, as it plays an important part of the bit of a roller coaster that Mercury might have us on in the middle of the week. Mercury will stand across the sky from Neptune before moving on the next day to speak in supreme harmony with Pluto. That opposition to Neptune really is key here, because that is about acknowledging the disappointment and having to face some difficult truth. And it really comes down to what another person is really telling you and what they're showing you. It is Mercury in its home sign of Virgo as we start this week, right? Another position of power for a planet. And Virgo is the energy of details and actually seeing what the evidence is showing you. And when Mercury is across the sky from Neptune, either we can't see the details, not willing to see the details, or can't help but to acknowledge that the details within themselves, once acknowledged, present us with a sense of some disappointment, even if it's hard. And I'm so sorry to say it does happen, but this is a big turning point moment, I think, for a lot of us out there. And it's not just going to show up in our connections to others, though it might. But this is about being honest with yourself about how you're actually living and what's working for you and what isn't. Where it is perhaps you're wasting energy, especially mind energy, brain energy. I had this wonderful conversation earlier this week, and I was saying, I had this realization of how much of my very short life, because it is a short life, how much of this short 150-year lifespan that I am, in the midst of right now, I have wasted thinking about things that just don't matter, worrying about stuff that is so insignificant. And it really is in the present moment that the power is. It is in the present moment that we're able to live in a space of peace, of genuine peace, by being adamant about being here right now, without judgment, with absolute presence. And I think this is going to be a realization for some of us out there. Some choice is being made, some decision is being made. And once it is that we do, it is incredible how those mental forces just know how it is to hone in on the direction you truly desire to go, or at least what's worth thinking about, what's worth talking about, what types of stimuli you want to expose yourself to. And what I mean by that is, if you know that you have people in your life who just are so negative, this is going to be a moment where, whether it's internet content and what you're consuming there, whether it's the people in your life, to the best of your ability, this is going to be one of those moments where you are really being that much more adamantly honest with yourself about what peace of mind this connection, this indulgence is actually costing you. And once you get to that truth, it can't help but be a game changer. And for some, this is going to feel rather profound, sweeping even as well. Our hearts are already leading us to a more profound truth, with Venus newly at this point in the sign of Scorpio. But it is this Mercury that's going to have us confronting disappointment so that we can make a decision, so that we can hone in on the direction we truly desire to go and bring all of ourselves to what could be coming up ahead. On Thursday, Mercury will change signs, moving into the sign of Libra. Next week, we'll meet the sun here. I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. But know that it is Mercury, the sun, Venus. They're never more than 2 signs away from each other, right? These are planets that travel close together in the sky. And Mercury and the sun will often be very close in the sky, and we're going to get a sense of insight and understanding that is going to more fully actualize once we get into next week. But all of this is to say, one-on-one conversations, interactions are going to be part of what more people are interested in and talking about. I also think that Libra being the sign of diplomacy, my hope is that this helps bring about some support for healthy negotiations that allow a more balanced approach to all the different things we might see, especially on the world stage. There might be those who want to gain advantage, make power moves that might or might not be deemed as ethical, right? That's the Scorpio energy. It understands what needs to happen at the core. It isn't always about doing the right thing or doing the balanced thing necessarily, but Libra energy is that encourages us to listen to each other, to be willing to see things from the other's perspective. And where it is that we are willing to see from a place of heart. Remember, it is Venus that rules the sign of Libra. This is particularly loving energy. And it is a type of love that we give when we're willing to listen to another. But it is also a love that we give to ourselves when we're willing to be vulnerable and we're willing to actually share something that's real and not necessarily seek to gain power over another. But it is going to be this moment now, with this week, with all this activation of these big planets like Pluto and Neptune. Remember, next year, we are going to really start diving into this whole other world that I've spoken of at length in the Decade Ahead video horoscope that I must have published some 6 years ago now or something, and I'll be sure to link to that below. And of course, you can find that on my YouTube channel somewhere here as well. We are on the precipice of big changes, but how it is that we incorporate and understand and use those changes so that we ourselves change in meaningful ways, so that we are shaped in healthy ways with big collective energies. Well, it is the personal planets that help us to do just that. And a week like this says that a lot of us, while we're facing some pretty messy feelings, we're also understanding how truth can be empowering. While we're facing disappointment, we're also seeing how balance can be a wonderful gift that we give to ourselves and to others as well. A bit of a side note here. One of my dear friends, I know you've seen him on my channel before, Mark McGowan. He is a medium. He's been a reality TV star. He's just so brilliant. And he sent me a message and he said, you watch right around this date, stuff with Diddy is going to advance. It's going to come out. And we don't know P. Diddy's birth time, right? But stuff did happen. And why did that? Astrologically speaking, well, look, we can say that all of this stuff started stirring very strongly for P. Diddy when it was that Pluto first crossed over his Mars last year. That was when it started to feel like so much was coming out, and it has seemed as if big moments take place in his life over the course of the last 2 years when Pluto has moved over that Mars. Mars represents a few different things. It's our survival instinct, it's our life force, but it's also like what gets us going, including in intimacy, including what turns us on. What it is that we might cultivate in ourselves, or what it is that might drive us forward towards being able to connect with other people, especially when we're talking about physically. And Pluto is an interesting energy. And I'm saying this because we do have Venus square Pluto and Mercury trine Pluto this week. Pluto is an active principle now, but Pluto can, on the one hand, reveal the truth. It reveals what's superficial, but it can also feel like whatever it was that was, as they say, a house of cards, whatever was illusionary, it can just go away, right? And it can go away in a way that feels mighty painful. Now, some people would say it's karmic, and sure, all the planets can be karmic, and sometimes Pluto is fair, sometimes Pluto is not so fair, but what we can say is the deeper desires that have been just under the surface for P. Diddy have culminated to this moment, and we're really seeing how it is that he's brought forward his Mars energy. How it is he's used his Mars energy, his power, his desires, how it is that he's manifested these circumstances that now have us looking at how depraved some of his behavior has been. And though we're seeing that on a collective level, right, this is happening in front of the world, it is also for him to see, if he so chooses, his own behavior as well, how he's used his own instinct of merging with another, and how he might have used it in a way that ultimately was tremendously destructive, as we are that much more every day seeing now. Hi, everybody. So I'm in editing mode now, and I just had to jump on to say, I just realized as I was putting the video together that it is going to be at the beginning of November that we are going to have one of the most important moments of the year, and that is Mars standing across the sky from Pluto. And this opposition is happening right at the US election, as we know, so it has huge implications for that. This opposition is speaking so powerfully to what's happening in the charts of both of the major candidates and so on. But for Diddy's chart, wow, this is going to be Pluto right on top of his Mars, Mars opposite his Mars. And so as much as we see this huge moment happening now, I think there's something even bigger that's likely to come, and it is going to be a massive game changer. That is going to be the last exact conjunction that Pluto is going to make to his Mars. After that, later in November, Pluto moves on, won't return to Capricorn for over 200 years. And so the way that this is activating his chart is so powerful. Yeah, we can expect some developments to take place at that time. But not everybody with a Pluto transit necessarily is going to manifest challenging circumstances. Way back in the day, as a baby astrologer, I attended a workshop by Alphee Lavoie. He is one of our legends in astrology, widely respected. He's been on the circuit teaching astrology for decades and decades now. And Alphee was talking about big transits that happen. And he said that a big transit of an outer planet, like Pluto, for example, can come in and it can just feel like calamity. It can feel as if you begin the hardest time and you go through some really hard times, but at least on the other side, what's left is real. But he said something rather interesting, and explored this in the workshop I took like 20 years ago, almost now. He was saying that if you take the right approach to the sky, right? And that is, you see this big transit coming up, and you're just going to decide that you'll have faith and you're going to go along with the ride. You're going to throw your hands up and say, universe, whatever you need me to see, to know, to let go, to embrace, You show it to me. I'm going to trust. It's incredible how much that changes the experience of an outer planet transit. It helps us to experience that transit as a time that might have its moments of discomfort, but the really hard stuff can be hugely negated if it is that we're willing to be honest with ourselves, do the best with what we can, and surrender the rest. All of us, in one way or another, are going through these sacred lessons in our own lives as well. And some of us just do it on a world stage. And where it is that, in the case of Diddy, we've created a whole lot of pain in the process, well, this is one of those moments that might look like reckoning, and it is a type of reckoning, of course, but it is also a moment of self-discovery for him, a moment of self-honesty, and a moment of deep transformation should he choose to take up that call. What I love about this week for us, there's so much here. It is a powerful and meaningful astrological moment. Well, I'm actually going to say something that I didn't specifically talk about yet, and that is the fact that we are still in a period between eclipses, where the ancients believed that the veil between the worlds was especially thin. And it becomes that much easier to recognize spiritual lessons as they're playing out in our lives in real time, but also as we reflect on what has been. The sky this week is encouraging us to move in a direction of finding greater balance, even if it's hard, and even if it means confronting our own disappointments in a sense. But that sense of confrontation is needed so that ultimately we can, in the midst of it, find our power and find ourselves. With Libra energy kicking into high gear before the week is out, we're encouraged to get along, to find balance between ourselves and others, and to forge meaningful alliances that are going to prepare us for those moments that, at least in the ancient world, we had to stay inside increasingly more and more. We had to figure out a way that we were going to be okay. And even though today, on a practical level, for many of us, our survival doesn't depend on our interconnection to others, our well-being in many ways, our sense of inner emotional and mind balance in many ways does require interactions with other people. And I truly believe we are social creatures. Some of us are able to bring that sense of ease of connections with others that much easier than it is for other people. Or perhaps at certain times in life, it's easier than it is at other times. And yet a week like this reminds us that there are people there who want to know us, who want to align with us, who want to connect with us. But at the same time, the most important relationship you're going to have is the one with yourself. Approach that one with balance. And from there, you find a way forward. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here's some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs up. All of it means so much. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you. And of course, if you want to know how all this wonderful stuff this week speaks to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com, where you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week for as low as just $3 a month. Would choose your membership rate. Higher tiers get you things like all access passes to Synchronicity University events, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University presents incredible new programs that are right now. Choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. 2 brand new teachers have been announced, and I'm so excited that they are coming to Synchronicity University as part of their own 5-week courses. This is so exciting. I'm going to start with Tiffany Harlick, The Mystic Within, intuition, psychic abilities, and so much more. She's going to help you to bring it forward, to develop it, to cultivate it, to celebrate it as well. This is going to be a super interesting course and just so perfect for the month of November, which is when these classes are set to take place, because we're going to begin this course in Scorpio season, of course, which is all about understanding energies. And this is about understanding that you can cultivate within yourself an awareness and practical skills that help magnify your intuition and psychic energies and so much more. Tiffany is widely respected. We are so fortunate to have her coming to Synchronicity University as part of her own 5-week course. You can learn a whole lot more about her class. And remember, you have got a limited time to choose your tuition rate to learn from Tiffany for as low as just $5 a class. Head on over to synchronicityuniversity.com, learn more and sign up now. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University is so proud to present Janét Jones. I love Janét. You've seen her at Synchronicity University before. This time she's got a 5-week course. This is going to be incredible. I kid you not. This is advanced techniques. I know so many of you are ready for it. We're looking at Decans, Duads, and degree theory, and so much more. She's the perfect person to teach this. Now, Janét is part of a super popular community. I mean, I'm talking hundreds of thousands of people, if not more, with her community that she's created called Spiritual Gangster Certified. And I actually found her online like years ago. And I just loved her content. I thought that she was brilliant. I thought she was a wonderful astrologer. She was sharing a lot of memes as well that I found really entertaining. And then I found her YouTube channel, and on her YouTube channel, she would look at celebrities that sometimes get overlooked by the larger astrological community. And boy, did she break down those charts and really get to the heart of specific matters in a way that I absolutely loved. I've loved forging this work relationship with her, and what a wonderful, truly expert astrologer to come to Synchronicity University to help you to understand some advanced techniques. This is a great course to take if you already have the fundamentals, right? And if you don't already have the fundamentals, no worries. There are lots of packages that you can get over at synchronicityuniversity.com to help affirm those foundational stuff that you might need. But oh my goodness, it is going to be this course that takes your astro skills to the next level. And that is something I can promise you. She's a wonderful teacher. She's brilliant. She has this down to earth, but really insightful approach that you've seen here on my channel before. You've got a super limited time to choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class to learn from the one and only Janét Jones. Right now, head over to synchronicityuniversity.com, learn more and sign up. Links are in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for this moment with you. Thank you for your trust. I'm so grateful for it. Now, so many of you gave wonderful feedback for the short horoscopes coming back after years of being away. And so I thought, let me try it again. So if you stay tuned, you'll get the short horoscopes at the end of this video as well. And then in a couple of days after the week begins, I'll post them as their own standalone on the YouTube channel. For those of you who might want to be reminded, or you'd rather just wait for the shorter stuff, I am just so grateful to be some part of your spiritual journey. And it is, of course, this connection that we share that means just so much to me. There are going to be a lot more new synchronicity courses that are announced this week, including my own course. So be on the lookout for that. We've got a jam-packed, incredible November coming up as we start to move into the autumn equinox season. I look forward to walking this journey with you. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy. Mercury is the active principle now. Over Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Mercury is on the move and is going to help us to understand that much more, because Mercury is about understanding on a level of mind and having synchronistic experiences that really drive home what it is that we truly need to know. And Mercury does take us on a bit of a roller coaster now. And I think this is because we may have sort of conflicting thoughts around a given matter, or just our own understanding of the information coming at us, helping us to decide what we really want. Well, we feel a little divided on what we're going to believe and what we're going to do about it as well. On Tuesday, Mercury speaks in supreme harmony with Uranus. I love this energy. It's all about new ideas, but it's also great news that can find us. This is about getting that email, that letter that delivers news that feels positively elating. But it is the following day that Mercury will stand across the sky from Neptune. And this is energy that's a little more tricky because it's about being honest with ourselves even when it's hard, and acknowledging some disappointment in the process. But the following day, Mercury speaks in supreme harmony with Pluto, and this is about getting our minds right to focus on what it is that really matters, to align with the changes that we just glimpsed earlier in the week that we know are possible, but now are asking for our focused effort. And then also on Thursday, Mercury will change signs, moving into the sign of Libra. This is a sign that has to do with our one-on-one alliances with other people. And I actually love this energy because it gives us that much more motivation to talk to others, to exchange ideas, and to practice healthy diplomacy. Whether we see that on a world stage, because Mercury is also representative of what we're talking about collectively, or whether we see it more personally in our own alliances with others, but also within ourselves. Being willing to be more balanced and fair within is a powerful form of self-love that we may give to ourselves at this moment. Now, how this Mercurial energy speaks to you in your sign is coming up right now. But of course, if you want a more detailed understanding of this powerful Mercurial energy and the other energies playing out this week, head on over to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com or thefutureismagical.com and join me in the Superstar space for as low as just $3 a month now. Aries, the first part of the week, Mercury is moving through a part of the sky for you that has to do with your daily life, your clients, customers, coworkers, and also your health as well. And I do feel like for some, it's going to feel like those connections take a bit of a roller coaster ride here where you're not really sure what to believe, but there's also a lot of hopeful information coming at you. It's going to require your action to make the most of it. And that includes in terms of workplace opportunities, but also in terms of how well you're taking care of you. On Thursday, once Mercury changes signs, it is going to be the one-on-one connections in your life, especially love connections that are going to ask you to communicate that much more. And you're going to be that much more inclined to hear someone else out as part of creating more harmony and ease in your connections now. Taurus, the week starts with Mercury moving through fellow Earth sign Virgo. This is a heart-oriented part of the sky for you, and it's about fun, but also flirtation and romance. And it looks like flirtation does take you on a bit of a roller coaster now. While there are going to be new opportunities for those of you who want it, there's also a sense of awareness of powerlessness that comes when it is you're hoping to start a spark with another person. Fun as well might come into focus, but again, as much as you might pursue it, you also may need to practice a sense of balance so that you can cherish those moments of genuine happiness that much more. Late in the week, Mercury changes signs, moving into a part of the sky having to do with your daily life, and it is time to focus on work. Mercury here is going to make your day-to-day life that much more active, that much more busy. Gemini, your ruling planet spends most of the week at the foundation of your chart. This emphasizes home and your past and your living situation. Just spending time on your own can be highlighted here. Having more communications with your family of origin, your parents in particular, might stir for you now. And again, there's this roller coaster energy there, where on the one hand, there's delight, your past showing up in a way that brings a lot of happiness and awareness, but also an awareness that you can't change the past, but you can now, by reaching some deeper truth, move forward. Late in the week, Mercury changes signs, moving into a part of the sky that has to do with heart and fun and romance and flirtation. And your ruling planet here is going to encourage you to get your flirt on. A few memorable moments start to find you before the week is out. Cancer, Mercury in a mind-oriented part of the sky is about your mind being lit with new ideas, but also random conversations and interactions with others, including and especially siblings, cousins, and neighbors. And that's where it can feel that there is that roller coaster energy here. On the one hand, wonderful news in your own life or related to these other people could transpire for you, but then you're really looking at your own resistance or perhaps a moment of uncertainty before it is you understand what you can do, what you can say, what action you can take to transform the understanding that you're trying to forge between you and another. For all that though, once Mercury changes signs, it kicks off a period of time that you're that much willing to go within, to contemplate deeper ideas in your own time and work on your own projects that you believe in the fullness of time can manifest into more. Leo, money you earn, money you spend, self-love, self-esteem. It is what you're thinking about and talking about as the week begins. And again, roller coaster energy we have here. As much as there might be great financial news, there might also be a need to balance that news with either patience or an understanding of perhaps some expenses that show up for you. There are going to be those Leos out there that don't experience this energy financially. It has a lot more to do about looking at your self-concept and what self-love you're demonstrating towards yourself and others. Finding a level of empowerment in the midst of uncertainty is where powerful healing can take place. We end the week with Mercury in a brand new part of the sky, having to do with siblings, cousins, neighbors, and random interactions with others. That really is where, out of nowhere, light bulb moments can occur. Virgo, we start the week with your ruling planet in your sign. Your mind is lit, but chances are you're thinking about a specific matter and it feels like your thoughts around it take you on a bit of a roller coaster now. Just when you feel empowered and as if, yes, you really are yourself and you're thinking in ways that you really like, at the same time, it could feel like you're at odds with another person and they're facilitating some sense of disappointment for you. You really wish things could be different, especially in your communications with them. But for all that, you understand what you need to do, and we move towards the end of the week with Mercury moving into a financial part of your sky, but it's also part of the sky that has to do with self-love, self-esteem, and that becomes a greater focus for you before the week is out. Libra, Mercury starts the week in the sign just before yours. There is so much happening on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. And as much as your dreams themselves might inspire you, there's also this moment of some wasted energy that can transpire right around the middle of the week. For all that, though, the best stuff just shows up. And it's also an energy that says you may find resolution to matters and healthy karmic closures. They find you out of nowhere and feel like a blessing. As we move late into the week, Mercury moves into your sign and your mind is lit. You feel bright. You find the perfect words to ask for what you want. And in the weeks ahead, you're that much more likely to get it. Scorpio, friendships, group alliances, social events, they are taking up your time and your mind for much of this week. And it could feel as if you're uncertain about your place within a particular group endeavor. You see the ways in which it's working for you, but also the ways in which you feel like a lot of energy is being wasted. But this could also be playing out with a specific friend in your life. But at least as we get to Thursday, you're ready to make a choice as to the best conversation to have to move forward. We end the week with Mercury in the sign just before yours. Chances are you'll need a lot more rest. A lot is happening in your mind on levels of soul, psyche, and spirit. Creative ideas are just under the surface. Sagittarius, career, social standing, life purpose, and bosses. Wow. It can be, on the one hand, some incredible conversations that give you a lot of hope for advancement, alignment with purpose, but then you might also have to look at some disappointment, some sense of deciding what's really worth pursuing and just what isn't. And empowering yourself in the process means recognizing what opportunities just aren't for you, or maybe their disappointment suggests that you should be doing something else to move your life forward. For all that, though, in the mixed messages you get from bosses, the energy does start to change as we get late into the week, with Mercury moving into a friendship part of your sky. In the weeks ahead, celebrating with others, social events take on a greater priority. Capricorn, long distance travel, immigration, citizenship, higher learning, legal matters, and philosophical matters do get your focus now. Either you're going back and forth arguing with somebody about what you believe and they don't agree with it, and that ends up wasting a whole lot of your energy, or it is that you're trying to figure out where you are to be. And that could be in terms of higher education, legal matter, or quite literally in the world. You do find a way to empower yourself and make some key decision right around Thursday. And then Mercury changes signs, moving into the top of your sky. And this becomes a time of awakened ambition, inspiring you to go big. Aquarius, truth, change, transformation, regeneration comes into focus for you. And again, bit of a roller coaster here, right? There's a theme for all the signs there. As much as you are empowered to move towards greater wealth, to be honest with yourself and experience those personal changes. You might also need some sense of balance. And if you haven't been aiming for balance, it's a time to really decide what's worth your energy and worth your money, and maybe just what isn't. Around Thursday, some choice does help you to feel truly wealthy in some way. Before Mercury changes signs, moving into fellow air sign Libra, the world starts to open up for you. You're ready to explore, to plan, and to really cultivate a sense of what it is you believe. Pisces, love, partnerships, getting along with another. If you have love in your life, you're spending more time cultivating it. If you don't have it, you're that much more open to pursuing it, especially in terms of intellectual connections to begin, like, for example, online dating. And that could definitely take you on a roller coaster. Now, just when you think you've made really strong connections, you may also have to face some disappointment or the reality not matching the fantasy. Regardless, though, we've got powerful energies here that do suggest you're moving in the right direction of alignments with others. Late in the week, Mercury changes signs, inviting you to go to a deeper level of honesty and vulnerability with another. Thank you again for watching. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.